Welcome back, and today we're talking about Moriarty the Patriot, episode 9. So like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 9 of Moriarty the Patriot. Once again, we're seeing Sherlock's side of the story and how he got involved in this whole murder and he has to prove his innocence. It was awesome how Lestrade at the beginning of the episode kind of let him go because he kind of believes in Sherlock, right? He does believe that Sherlock can solve the case and he kind of believes that Sherlock is innocent, right? I mean, he has an alibi. Anybody with a brain would know that if Sherlock was with, John and he was with the landlady at the bar, he has an alibi. There's no way he would have been able to kill that Drebber person, but everybody's out to get Sherlock. So I'm glad that Lestrade kind of gave him the little out so he can escape and solve his own little murder mystery, right? So that was awesome. Now before we jump into the rest of the episode, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out, and of course I greatly appreciate it. But let's talk about Moriarty the Patriot, or Sherlock Holmes, because this episode was definitely all about Sherlock Holmes, and it was a good episode. I liked it. We got to see just how Sherlock Holmes looks at the whole crime scene, how he's able to deduce different things, and it was amazing. Now it was a little confusing keeping up with everything because it was a lot of information being thrown at us, but it made sense. Everything made sense. Everything fell in place. It all started with the ring that Sherlock Holmes found in the crime scene. Essentially, it belonged to Jefferson Hope. His wife was Lucy. That's the name engraved on the ring. So that was already a big clue to who the murderer was. But on top of that, of course, Sherlock Holmes being able to deduce and look at things that normal people would not be able to see, he was able to detect the carriage that kind of drove into Drebber's house. Jefferson Hope got out and killed Drebber, so he was able to see that it wasn't a carriage that was usually used by nobles, that it was more like a taxi or something along those lines. And when he went to the place where all those carriages were at, he of course saw Jefferson Hope. He's the man they were looking for, right? He was like a bigger man, nicely built, and essentially it fit the little description that Sherlock Holmes had whenever he was kind of talking about the crime scene. But on top of that, of course, we know that Sherlock Holmes is just on a whole different level, right? He was able to get it from the report that Lestrade made. So he essentially made all those connections using all the information that was provided. And honestly, I would not be able to do that, right? Like Sherlock Holmes is on a whole new level. If I was watching this episode trying to solve the case, I don't think I would even come close. I remember doing that when I used to watch Detective Conan, trying to see if I can see the little clues that each episode has. And this episode did a very good job at hiding everything. Now we do have to talk about Fred versus Sherlock Holmes. One of the plans that Sherlock Holmes had was putting the ring in like the newspaper saying that they found it, they're trying to get it back to the owner. And that's when Fred disguised himself as an old lady and went and got the ring. Of course, Sherlock Holmes chased after the old lady or Fred, and that whole fight that happened, it was awesome. I like the fight, the martial arts, it looked pretty good. But I will say it was kind of funny seeing Fred kind of do the parkour and jump from the carriage to the rooftop across the street. I don't know how he did that. Maybe he's Spider-Man, but this whole anime since episode 1 has always been grounded in reality in some way, right? Like we don't see any superpowers and people doing some crazy jumps like Fred did in this episode. So it definitely fell out of place. Now, once Sherlock Holmes finds out who the murderer is, he was able to deduce everything, put all the pieces together after he did a 1v1 against Fred. He was able to go into the carriage where Jefferson Hope was in and he was driving and kind of, tell John, have you ever been in a carriage with a murderer? He was essentially talking about Jefferson Hope. He explained everything. Everything made sense. And that's when we have the face-off between Sherlock Holmes and Jefferson Hope. And we see how, I wouldn't say Sherlock Holmes would have killed Jefferson Hope in that spot right there. Like he grabbed the gun and pointed at him, but I don't think he would have done it, right? And I like how John is kind of like the realistic person in this whole scenario, right? Like he took his gun out and pointed it at Sherlock Holmes, saying like, what are you going to do? Like you can't just kill a man, right? Like John obviously believes in the justice system. We have to take him alive, turn him into the police, let the justice system take its course. So he definitely did not want Sherlock Holmes to take somebody's life just to find out who was the one that masterminded this whole murder thing, right? So that was awesome. And of course, Sherlock Holmes, he kind of said, you know, he's not going to kill him because he wants to solve the mystery himself, right? That's what he lives for. That's what Sherlock Holmes kind of lives for. He wants to solve mysteries, solve murders that the police is not able to do. So this is going to be like the best case that Sherlock Holmes is ever going to be on. Now, going forward, I really do hope that the next couple of episodes, right? I believe we only got like 2 more that we're coming to the end of the season. I hope we get to see more of like the Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes fighting, clashing with just how smart they are, right? Because I really don't want Moriarty to go and do more like, you know, other murder stuff for other people and Sherlock Holmes kind of solving those. I really want to see what would happen if both of these characters actually face off in like a cat and mouse type of game. So it would be awesome. 2 episodes left. I'm sure it's going to be great. As of right now, every single episode of Moriarty the Patriot has been good. I've been loving it. I love psychological animes like this. So hopefully they keep going because it ain't going to disappoint, right? But let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. And like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.